it's relevant in all the other categories, but it is such a key thing we need to have a focus on and increase it. And our kind of exchange with the regulator was, for this investment, we'll return a 1.6 billion NPV over 20 years. That's one of the things we've really sold, is that it's a long-term investment. You're not going to make really quick returns on it all, but if you don't invest now, you'll never make a return. There's a team, the leadership team there. Ali Smith is the senior program manager, and all the other characters. R&D team. One of the programs that we're a member in is the Shift to Rail program, which Felicity looks after. It's a massive investment, EU investment, and yes, we can continue into it even after Brexit in R&D in the rail sector. It's worth around €1 billion, and we are one of the founding members, which means we have access to all the research that goes on in that program. So some of the main things we've done in the first year of CP5 as a portfolio is change the way we work. We've been really focusing on partnering with the likes of the universities. Those partnerships are really key. We need to get that research that goes on and the thinking that's done at university and pull that through into the real world, test it, trial some of the thinking, develop it, and then deploy it onto the network. And we're working really closely with the universities to do that. Driving pace through agile and innovative procurement. Procurement, it always comes up as a barrier to innovation and R&D. So one of the massive focuses I've had personally and the team have had is around how we can use different contracting mechanisms and different competitions, such as the hackathon, which we ran with a partner organisation, Hack Partners, last year, to drive a different thinking, a different way of taking stuff forwards, and be able to take stuff forwards beyond the R&D into the deployment, and doing more challenge-led competitions. So we're also working very closely with Innovate UK to run several SBRIs to drive thinking. And we're engaging very closely with government and industry. It's one of the key things we've needed to do to get the R&D agenda prime and centre in the rail sector. It's one of those things that's often an afterthought. Not anymore. We're really pushing that. We're making sure that we work very closely with RIA, the Railway Industry Association. We have a partnership with them where they're supporting us and we're supporting them. We're engaging with different communities. So rail isn't unique in terms of the technology we use sometimes. So we're working very closely with big tech communities. We're trying to shape the technical strategy. So David Rowe, who's our head of strategy, is getting very involved in the rail technical strategy and other work going on within the sector. We've created something called the Innovation Factory, which falls under my Accelerated Innovation Programme. It's all around working more with SMEs and promoting the work we do. Sometimes in rail, we can create language that is hard to engage with from other sectors, for people for technologists from other sectors. So one of the things Connected Places Catapult are helping us do is translate that, and they've got a good reach into the SME market, so they're helping us with that. And collaborating with UKRI through Innovate UK, driving more competitions. So I said I'd briefly talk about COVID. I don't think you can probably go to a presentation about technology for the last 6 months without someone mentioning it. We've been very active in trying to make sure that the railway can continue working, and also honing our skills to support other sectors. So one of the team was working quite closely to look at how we could support the NHS through some of the initiatives we were doing, slightly changing the focus of what we were doing. We've been very closely supporting the network, keeping it available, looking at how technology can support COVID strategies. And a couple of technologies we deployed thermal cameras across our estate to help find people who might have a symptom of COVID, which is a high temperature, are entering our buildings that still need to be operational. You can't signal a train sat in your front room, so our signallers still have to go into the workplace, and so do many of our other staff. So the thermal cameras have been one way of us trying to keep them safe. And also innovation that came from one of my team around using recycled lemonade bottles to create visors for some of our frontline staff. And that's been fantastic. And it was a way of us not putting extra pressure on the supply chain, who were already overloaded, providing visors to the NHS and other critical services, but providing our staff with some safety. Now, I said we invested £30 million in CP5. in R&D. We've invested over £30 million in year one of CP6 in R&D, and some of the critical projects we've been delivering are looking at using cryogenic railhead cleaning system. So that's using cryogenic technology to remove the film that leaves on the track at night. That's been very successful. We had a great trial last autumn, and there are bigger scale pilots going on this autumn. Cast crossing durability. Around 10 years ago, to save some money, we re-engineered some of our cast crossings. We removed some material from them in areas we didn't think would affect the durability. However, 10 years on, we found they did. So we've done some updated calculations that are used through working with some of our university partners to do more testing and redesign some of those crossings designs. We're exploiting aerial survey data, so taking more value out of the data. We measure the network every 5 years, every control period, for several purposes. We've managed this time to chuck some artificial intelligence at it, and also work with some universities to look at how much extra value we can pull from it. The model T footbridge was around trying to get a standardized design for footbridges. That was something that was led out the civils program, because we were committed to investing more money in civils for this control period to bring it up to the level of some of the other asset types. The graded mode working system was something that we started in CP5. We started some of the research and development, and in CP6 in the next year or so, we'll be deploying our first-in-class deployments of that. And that's around offering a better digital solution for when our signalling fails. So at the moment, people have to go out and lock out our points and hand bits of paper to train drivers to let them know they can drive in a dead section. This is deploying a very simple piece of technology to understand if the points are isolated, and then send a message through the Siemens in-cab radio to the driver to let them know they can progress. And then probabilistic gauging is around using new calculation techniques to maximize the space we've got available to our vehicles on the next network. So the Accelerated Innovation Program. So one of the things we were challenged with quite early on in our program, 6 months in, was where's the program of work to bring technology into the business quickly? Not to do loads of development, but pick up technology which was already at a high readiness level in other sectors, or maybe on other rail operators' network, bring it in, drive it locally, do small scale trials, and then scale it up, working really close with the end users. In fact, one of the challenges we got from our CEO, which done the program, was, tell me how many projects have failed in the past 6 months. And we all looked around at each other and said, failed? Projects don't fail, you know, we make sure they succeed. And he said, well, you're not trying hard enough if some aren't failing. Not failing on a big scale, failing on a little scale, trying stuff, failing fast and failing cheaply. So that's where the Accelerated Innovation Program came from. We take a really different approach to delivering projects. Traditionally, you would spend a lot of time up front specifying, creating a long list of requirements, really understanding the needs of the whole business environment before doing anything. We take a slightly different approach in the accelerated innovation space, and I'll talk about that in more details in a bit. One of the other key things is actually getting ideas from the front line and as close to the problem as possible. Sometimes projects can often be sponsored by senior stakeholders who maybe haven't actually dealt day to day with the problem for some time and also can't be as involved. All my projects are sponsored and driven by people who are dealing with the problem day to day and are committed to spending time working with us on the project. The model you've got up there in front of you is quite a simple staged innovation process we have. We get the ideas from the front line through various methods, promoting it through our internal channels, and also going out and speaking to people. We then analyze that idea. So is it actually a problem? You know, somebody wants to invest in developing a new clip, but our clips are a big problem. Do they cost us a lot of money? Do they cause us safety issues? Will they improve sustainability? And then we prioritize those ideas, and we prioritize them based on what is the biggest benefit we can get in the shortest amount of time. We prioritize our projects based on that. And then we go into delivery, which is all around taking that agile approach to delivery. Then when we get to a point where we've proven an idea of concept, we work with other areas of the business to implement and scale. So one of the first projects I'll talk to you about is Connox. It's a German system for doing predictive maintenance on rail switches. We've just started trials in July this year, and they go on to around November. We're at Luton North. We were due to be at Port Creek Junction. Unfortunately, we were unable to get in there because of precision constraints. And the solution continually measures the displacement of the S&C, and it's constantly monitoring the situation. In the background, there's machine learning algorithms which work out what the behaviour it's seeing, and also alerts when appropriate interventions should be needed. And I have a short video on it.
The Konex system is one of the first stages of employing real artificial intelligence and machine learning on switch and crossing assets. This can be pivotal for employing risk-based maintenance efficiencies in the future for track assets.
The Konex predictive maintenance solution has already been deployed with over 10 international customers. It allows for the right actions to be executed at the right time and at the right place. This in turn helps to provide the following: 2. Increase reliability. 3. Improve cost efficiency. This is enabled by the existing Konex features like continuous health monitoring, forecasting of trackbed condition, maintenance validation, and tracking of switch usage and load. We are very excited and proud to be part of the Network Rail Accelerator Innovation Program, to have the opportunity to trial the solution with Network Rail in both the Wessex and the East Midlands route.
The location was particularly interesting to trial the Konex solution, as issues with void and geometry are relatively prevalent and established at the selected Luton North site. Therefore, there would be good samples to prove the Konex solution's value in delivering actionable insights for void, asset health, usage and maintenance effectiveness. The preliminary data captured during the first few days after installation are already interesting and indicate excessive movement at the switches. We are now ready to further interpret the Konex insights to optimise our maintenance planning, implement predictive maintenance and lower maintenance costs. We are happy to get the opportunity for trialling the Konex solution at our site, as it is a promising solution that we believe can be of great value to Network Rail inspection and maintenance regimes. We would be very happy to share the project results and insights with other regions and interested Network Rail colleagues.
So Konex is one of our many projects across the programme. We've got 27 live projects at the moment. Here's just a snapshot of them. They're across all our regions across the business, and we've tried to do that purposely to spread the load. And what we do is we work closely with one regional user, or route user should I say. Initially, we test and trial an idea, and then we scale it up across the route, the region, and then, if applicable, the whole country. And if anyone's interested in any other projects that I don't talk about on here, please let me know. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions. So I talked about the accelerated innovation process. We use an agile methodology. So it's something that hasn't really been used quite widely in the rail industry, to my knowledge. It's something that's used in almost every other tech sector, especially IT. It's all around taking a plan, do, check, adjust, iterative cycle on projects. So we work very closely with what we call a product owner. As I said, they're a route sponsor who have the problem. We work with them to understand what their problem is and what their vision is. How do they want to solve this? We then work through a number of what's called user stories. So they're functionality and things they'd like to be able to do. We then have a person called a Scrum Master, traditionally probably known as a project manager. However, the Scrum Master is a servant leader, they're described as. So they don't really make the decisions. The product owner makes the active decisions. Scrum Master makes sure they happen. They remove blockers. They highlight issues before they highlight risks before they become issues, and they deal with those issues. And then you have a cross-functional Scrum team. So what we try and do is create a very tight-knit team as small as possible that can work quickly and closely together. And although people have roles in the team, they need to be flexible and adaptable and happy to take other roles as and when they're qualified to do so, to make sure that the product is delivered, the success is measured based on the project success, not on the success of individuals. We have 2-week sprints. In Agile, you can time box whatever you like. We time box 2-week sprints. So at the beginning of the 2 weeks, we do our planning and we work out what we want to achieve, and we work out what we think we can achieve. We then all commit to that and have confidence. And after 2 weeks, we come back together. We look at what we've achieved. We dismantle whether we achieved what we thought we would and why we did or why we didn't. And we demo something. So one of the promises I always give to our product owners, if you get involved, if you're active in it, every 2 weeks you get to see something new. It might not be a functioning product, but we also try and do that quite early on in the development cycle, give a functioning product, even if it's a very simple functioning product. At the end of 12 weeks, we always aim to have something called the minimal viable product. So that's something that the root user can take, can use, and can add some value to their day-to-day. It's not probably the fully fledged product they want, but it's the basis to make a decision about whether it's something to continue with or stop. And some of the benefits we found this to be around 60% more cost effective during the early stages, because you can try stuff, you can really trial stuff, and also you can be really flexible to external constraints. Sometimes when we start a project, we don't really think about external factors. We think about what we want today, and that will be the same in 18 months, 24 months when the project delivers. But we all know the world moves around us, and COVID's been a very real point of that. This gives you the chance to pivot and adapt your project as you go through. And actually, COVID hasn't had a massive impact on the program. It's prevented us from doing some site work at time, but actually some of the development that's going on hasn't stopped at all during COVID. In fact, we've had some benefits because more people have been available to work with us. The 2-week sprints really give you a consistent review of value and fit for purpose constantly. Every 2 weeks, you're sitting down, you're looking at what's being produced, you're looking at your problem. Is this product working towards solving that problem? It gives you a real laser focus on that. And the cross-functional teams is actually fantastic. I've worked in many different teams. I've worked in teams where someone comes in at the beginning and does requirements with you. They then hand it off to a technical team who work out how they're going to solve those requirements. They then come back, there's in testers, etc., etc. Actually, this brings that whole group together, and you have much richer discussions. So someone might chuck a requirement out there, and rather than just someone writing it down, actually someone technical, and they go, "Do you mean this?" I go, "Yeah." Well, actually, if you do it like this, you don't need to do it like that, and it's a lot cheaper, it's a lot quicker, it's a lot simpler, and actually you can get to the solution very quickly. And the 12-week increments that we work in give really sharp points where we take a critical view on what the benefits case is and whether actually we should continue the project or not. So next project I'm going to talk about is the HMT1 project. So the first project, Connox, was actually an operating system that a remote condition monitoring system that was already in operation in the rail industry in Germany. This is a solution. HMT1 and the Workflow Plus is a system that was already in operation in other industries, similar industries to the rail industry. So one of the route sponsors we work with saw it and thought we'd love to give it a go. It's made up of 2 components. There's the headgear on the left-hand side there, which is a camera, and a really small monitor. That piece that would go in front of your eye is a small monitor that you can move around with the movement of your eyes, follows your eyes. And it's also got voice control. The other, Workflow Plus, is the software. That is a piece of software that's bespokeable, that you can build your own workflows in. So the use case we're looking at is applying it to site inspections for capital delivery. The team go out regularly and they capture a lot of paperwork. If it's wet or cold or windy, sometimes that can get lost or damaged. It also needs rekeying when you get home to the office, so often a lot of mistakes. Using this kind of technology could significantly improve that.
HMT1 Workflow Plus is an innovative connected worker solution which responds to a series of challenges faced across the business, including an ORR improvement notice for the timeliness and quality of asset information handed back to the routes. HMT1 Workflow Plus enables Network Rail to digitise existing critical processes. We have developed an editable solution which allows us to create, edit and adapt new digitised processes using an easy-to-use interface, ensuring we're always focused on continuous improvement. Within this project, we have turned a series of existing paper-based and ad hoc renewals processes into digitalised workflow software. Working closely with the Aston Depot team on the ground, we have worked to understand current activities, assess issues and challenges, and then focused on key critical processes, turning these into digitised and standardised workflows that meet existing requirements, whilst also providing time, safety and sustainability benefits. HMT1 is a completely hands-free, voice-controlled user interface which allows workers to carry tools that many job.
We do daily is keep this time correct as well. It'll remove multiple visits to the site again and deliver track wheels. The biggest benefit for me on this is whoever does the work, whoever captures the information, it's the same standard throughout, so the output is correct every single time.
HMT1 Workflow Plus is a project that provides a unique solution in a range of ways, including it is a connected worker solution that allows us to utilise existing hardware to do things better, faster. We are combining digitised processes with innovative hardware that is adaptable and seamlessly integrates with mobile and laptop devices. We have collaboratively developed this solution with the workers on the ground to identify and standardise existing processes, ensuring the development of the right solutions. We have delivered this project based on an agile ways of working approach, allowing development within just 3 months. Also, the core delivery team on the project has consisted of a team of Network Rail graduates, providing a unique and novel early career opportunity.
Hello, my name is Hamza Ashrawi. I'm a civil engineering graduate based in the Wales and Western route.
Carrie Ho, I'm a graduate electrical engineer at Network Rail.
I'm Ben Goodyear and I'm an electrical engineering graduate scheme.
Hi, I'm Ben Curry and I'm a graduate on Network Rail's General Management Scheme.
The project has faced a series of challenges over the last few months, including COVID-19 meant the team were working remotely at an early stage of development. Using an agile-based approach, we were able to quickly adapt to the new normal and respond to availability, site access, or IT challenges. As a new technology not utilised within the rail environment before, the use of the HMT1 device meant that product acceptance was required. This was to ensure that trial safety was managed to a tolerable level. Working closely with Network Rail's product acceptance and safety specialists, we were able to deliver this within 2 months.
You wouldn't believe I look after a technology program, would you? Yeah, the HMT1 project has been fantastic. And one of the best things about taking an agile approach with it is actually we've been able to separate the headset with the Workflow Plus, but also use them together. So if one doesn't give the benefit that we thought it would, we can alter the project slightly. And it's looking a little bit like the headset maybe is a little bit too far for us at the moment, but actually the Workflow Plus also works on iPads, iPhones and other systems. And actually we're getting a lot of very good feedback on that. So potentially is something we'll progress with, maybe and maybe not progress on the headset side, or now they've been using it a while, we might get more support. So I've included a project in a minute that didn't go so successfully, fibre optic acoustic sensing. So one of the things we really wanted to do was try stuff quickly that might not work, and learn from it, and then incorporate it into future projects. And FOAS is a prime example of that, and I'll talk about that in a second.
In the autumn of 2019, Wales Route came to Network Rail R&D and asked if they had a solution to help identify wheel flats earlier due to a seasonal weather problem with leaves on the line. FOAS, or fiber optic acoustic sensing, is a technology that has the perspective of being a viable solution. The technology works by sending pulses of light down the fiber optic cabling. These are consistent with normal acoustic frequencies. However, when a train passes by, it will then disrupt the light pulses and send back refractions of light to our machine, which will then register it in our algorithm to see whether or not it has a wheel flat. The wheel flat is detected if it has an inconsistent light scatter on the data that's being read back to us. Original project scope require manual interpretation by hourly spreadsheets sent from the algorithm to the Wales Route. However, we decided to build an autonomous Power BI platform which would register the head codes and the trains with the wheel flats by pulling data from both the TD feed and supplier's technology. This allows for us to visually see which trains have the wheel flats, along with the wheel flat count, but also allowing for the autonomous identification of a head code.
So ultimately, we trialled the project throughout autumn last year, and we saw some good promising results early on. We were starting to get some correlation between wheel flats that we knew were wheel flats and where the system was telling us there was a wheel flat. The algorithm we were tuning and training over the 2 weekly periods. One of the things that has really sold the methodology to me was actually it was very time consuming for the team to look at the spreadsheet that was output from the system, and actually quite quickly we were able to create that Power BI dashboard, just taking some simple feeds together to present the data in a better way. We were seeing an improvement from sort of 1,000 false positives down to around 100 towards the end of the project, but we couldn't quite get the tuning right on the system, so we were still getting tens of false positives, which was just too many for the route to manage. So ultimately, in January, we decommissioned it. However, we tried something different. We learned a lot from it, and actually, we've incorporated it into a bigger piece of work, which has just gone out to market, or went out to market a few months ago, around using fibre optic acoustic sensing to detect a lot of other sort of asset failures. And also, we think with some of the technology that's coming through, some of the improvements in the fibre optic acoustic sensing boxes, we might be able to start detecting wheel flats. But that was a really great project, and actually had a really good feedback from the end user in Wales, who wants us to come back this autumn and do some work with them. So before I play this video, I'll just tell you this is probably one of my favourite projects I've worked on. This came out of a hackathon. So the hackathon last November, there was a challenge set by the asset manager in Wales around how can Wales and Western around how can we use all the data we collect and artificial intelligence to automatically detect our assets. And during 48 hours, they were able to develop a very, very simple, basic example of how they could deploy their system. And since then, we've been working with the people who were successful in the hackathon, Fujitsu, Wales and Western, to further tune and develop the equipment. I think this is a really good example of how actually it's not just technology that's really well developed and defined that works in this agile way, but actually elements of technology you bring together to answer a problem.
Chris Stanley, Regional Asset Data Analysis Manager for Wales and Western and sponsor of the Rail Asset Identification System, or RACE as it's known. The RACE project is a collaboration with Network Rail R&D and Fujitsu to develop a machine learning tool to automatically identify, catalogue and visualise assets in their exact location. For passengers, this means more trains, fewer delays and higher safety standards.
The Rail Asset Identification System will digitise the UK rail network and give Network Rail and its partners the ability to better leverage the huge amounts of asset data they hold in order to make smarter decisions in projects that seek to modernise the railway and provide a better rail experience for passengers. Using the tool, Network Rail will be able to quickly deploy maintenance crews, be more proactive in its service scheduling, and be better able to plan repairs and upgrades. The overall result is improved passenger experience, including more trains, fewer delays, and higher safety standards.
Over an 18-week period, split into 2-week sprints, the team built a prototype 3D user interface which extracts and visualises optical, video and LiDAR data and uses trained AI models to automatically recognise a selection of assets through recognising their inherent features. The team used an iterative approach which was crucial to the project's success as it enabled Network Rail to build and release new functionality on demand and change scope based on emerging business requirements. For example, we were able to assist with an hour notice to identify wooden poles on the route by reprioritising requirements in our next sprint.
We never really used this technology before. We never used point cloud in this way. We never tested it as a tool for tying in with Ellipse as well, and that's the Network Rail Asset Database. But one of the other challenges as well is, as a region, is working with Devolution, is working with the route and working with Chris Stanley and his team in working together. It showed real success in how PPF and working in regions in that environment really came together to manage it from a Network Rail perspective.
So where next? So the vision is that actually the whole business operates the Devolve model now. So my program is working very hard to create regional innovation hubs and working with the different people in the routes and the regions to upskill them in the process we've developed, and then have a very small team centrally that can offer expertise and skills, and also continue doing some of the driving on procurement and looking at new techniques and ways of doing stuff. That's the full vision, actually, that the whole business is able to do this. It's not just a small subset of the R&D portfolio, because there's so much innovation coming through and so much opportunity to deploy technology. It needs to be something that the whole business can do. Thank you.
Thanks, Rob. That was very interesting. I'm sure everybody agrees. We've got a good few questions in, some interesting ones. So I've got a few challenges for you, I think. I'll take them in the order. That I received them. So some might have been answered as you've gone on through your presentation, but I'll rattle through them very quickly. The first one from John. I noticed on many occasions in the past that Network Rail and its predecessors tended to move away from initial high upfront costs, but accept higher periodical, it's easy for me to say, sustainment costs. And he later clarifies that a little bit by saying, I hope this strategy is declared old hat and not practiced any longer. I think I can start to answer that a bit, Rob, and let you correct me, because in a former life, I've been in innovation in signalling. And all of our research projects in innovation were based upon a business case of actually the opposite of that, with a higher upfront cost to try and drive innovation and reduce ongoing operational expenditure in later years. So the whole purpose of our innovation fund was to reduce OPEX costs. So Network Rail had a business benefit, and that's how the business case was derived. So that would have been our approach in the past. I don't know if Rob, you would like to add to that.
So we take the most appropriate approach. I know it's probably going to be seen as a weak answer, but we take the most appropriate approach that's needed. So in my program, which is around using technology that's already quite established, obviously we want to put low upfront costs in because the technology is already established. People have already invested in it. We'll trial it and test it. If it then becomes successful and we want to roll it out further, we'll obviously have a commercial arrangement in with the suppliers that mean we'll pay for what we get. However, if we invest money up front in something that isn't developed, we expect to own a stake, if not all of the IP that's generated from that technology, because we invest in taxpayers' money. We need to make sure that we get the best value out of that.
I'll take the next one. There's another challenge here. Thanks, Rob. What research techniques are utilised as part of the R&D? And I noticed this question came in before you touched about how your pipeline was in the presentation. And what software platforms are used?
So software platforms, we're mainly using Azure now as a business in terms of our core platform and things that complement and work with that. And in terms of research techniques, if we're doing early research, we work closely with the universities. In CP5, we did a lot of PhDs. The challenge with a PhD is it's 4 years. It's a long slog. It needs to be on big, meaty, strategic things, which are a real challenge for the business. But there's also a space that we're starting to do now, more applied research. So we'll have a specific problem in an area and actually working very closely with some of the clever boffins that are in these universities to try and add some insight into something we're seeing every day, which we're doing a bit more. And we're working very closely with the Intelligent Infrastructure program to look at the data that's collected. Can we add any more insights by giving it to the university to have a play with? I will say that because actually it's only by having a play and trying something that no one would have maybe thought possible that we come up with some of these real insights that we're getting out of some of the work.
Yeah. Do you use tools specifically filtering opportunities and managing the funnel of R&D opportunities? Is that?
So everyone told me when we opened the funnel we'd get a flood of ideas, and we haven't. I didn't think we would. People aren't always that keen on coming forwards until they can see some progress. We're starting to get a lot more now. Yeah. So we have some documentation and basic forms. What we don't want to do is scare people off by asking them to fill out a 30-page document to get funding. So through the process, we're building that. So our benefits cases, you can't. When you've got an idea, you can't articulate the benefit case at a really early point until you've got something. So we have a tiered benefit case tool where through the project, as the project matures, we mature the benefits case. So we've got lots of different tools that we bring together to accelerate the process as much as possible. We don't put too much process around anything. Process kills ideas, kills people's passion. As soon as you say, "Oh, we've got to go to this panel and that panel," how long is it? 6 weeks. They disappear and they're not interested. Actually, what we try and do is make sure. Yeah, we try and make sure we get people to a point where there's something to talk about before we put too much structure on it. Obviously, we make sure we're not investing in something that's not totally wrong, but we try not to put too much structure and rigor around it early on.
Cool. I think you've led quite nicely into the next question, and this same question's appeared in the chat group and the Q&A group, and it's basically I'll read it out both times. Are there opportunities for SMEs to get involved? With opportunities to provide investment but specialist skills that could support research projects, and if so, how? But also in the chat group, we've got a question that says, I'm working on a software innovation project for the railway industry, and who is the best person to speak with and approach on this? So I think it's the same question both ways. Yeah.
So one of the things we found is that sometimes our procurement process can be very difficult for SMEs. In fact, sometimes for the bigger suppliers, it can be really difficult for them to understand. So we've done a lot of work honing and developing different processes. So something I'm a real passionate advocate of is something called a design contest, which we're running a lot more. That focuses on the solution to a problem, not the commercials that sit behind it. Actually, we don't discuss the commercials until we've decided what the best technical solution is. It's also the tenders also done very differently to make it easier for SMEs to engage with. We work very closely with Connected Places Catapult. So I'd say any SME that wants to work with Network Rail, sign yourself up with CPC. They're a government organisation, not for profit. They're not going to take your ideas. There's someone that work very closely with us and help us run our innovation competitions because we want to work with SMEs closer. And we've done a couple of competitions with them recently, and we have had a lot more submissions and a lot more SMEs submit into those. And look out. So the main thing I'd say to look out for our opportunities that come out. You can sign up to be on Bravo, which means you get an alert every time we put a competition out on a certain category. And that's the best way of trying to get work with us. We've done a lot of work to make it simpler as well to get onto things like Bravo. So there isn't a 500-page document to fill out anymore. And some of the questions we ask, which are probably irrelevant for SME, you don't have to answer as well.
Okay, great stuff. An interesting question, Rob. I think either someone knows a bit about you or they're trying to wind you up. Can you tell us something about the Gauging Database and Trust project? I'm not sure you know anything about the Gauging Database. But...
No, nothing about the Gauging Database. No. So the Gauging Database Trust project is around database is around how can we help our train planners, how can we offer them better data using the output from the Gauging Database. The trust data the Gauging Database is an output from it that we want to bring in to make it easier for our train planners to understand where our trains can and can't go. It's in very early stages as well. So.
Okay, just a real quick one. Good evening with the AR headset. Has this been linked with the trials undertaken by NRHS a few years ago? I'm sorry, I don't know about the trials by NRHS. I don't know if you do, Rob.
No, we did speak to a group that had trialled it previously. It might be NRHS. I'm not 100% sure. So we do some work. So one thing we do to make sure we're not repeating a load of work is we speak to the other programs and projects that are ongoing in the business to make sure we're not repeating work. So we do try as hard as possible. I can't say we're never going to, but actually sometimes it's good to, if something happened a couple of years ago, the world's changed slightly, it's good to try again. Never at high speed.
Question that's both in the chat and in the group. I think Jeremy's posted twice, fortunately, to try and make my life easier. How does the data collected from our AIS system compare to that used by PVP? And also using LiDAR and 4K video. Can this be shared and interrogated by the system? We've used PVP for survey and spatial applications to avoid putting boots on the ballast. I think. Yep.
So originally the project was focused on the RELAR data, which is LiDAR and video collected from the rear of a passenger vehicle using the RILAR kit, which is very accurate precision LiDAR. As we've matured the project, we're actually working very closely with your old team, Neil.
Yep.
To look at the data they collect, and we've combined two work streams effectively into one, which is the race project, where we are using more 4K video, and also the tail lamp video we're going to look at using, which is being collected by the Signalling Innovation Group. So yeah, and actually, do you know what? Yeah. Ultimately, using the agile approach has meant we could do that because we didn't absolutely fix our requirements up front to say we're only going to use LiDAR from this train. What we said is the primary driver initially is that, and then we've managed to flex and extend the scope to include other data sources.
And I know in my time in Signalling Innovation, I had the same approach in that if it's LiDAR data and it comes from a similar source of hardware fit to the train, in theory, the data should be of a similar type and can be used into any system. So we were trying to open that up in our time in Signalling Innovation. Looks like you're taking it one stage further. I was interested about, I'm going to probably jump a question because we haven't got very much longer. Can you tell us about the cryogenic railhead cleaning and engaging technologies you meant, probabilistic gauging technologies you mentioned? I think probably we covered that a bit but just a little overview.
I can tell you a little bit more about them. They aren't my projects, so I can only talk third hand about them. So the cryogenic cleaning came out of a university. I can't remember what university off my head. It basically uses ice effectively to blast the film that's left by leaves on the line off. It can only be done at very slow speeds at the moment, so we really focus it on areas where we know we have pretty bad leaves on the line issues. We are looking at how we automate it more, and it was very promising last year. Apparently, the routes saw a massive improvement in performance where they applied it. So I want to apply it in more areas this year. Probabilistic gauging, it's been around for several years, but we haven't updated some of the standards and some of the background about it. We also haven't driven forwards and looked at some of the business case around it. So we did a line of route in Scotland to work out what the actual financial benefit was, and it was quite big. So we're looking at rolling out further.
Cool. I'm going to take one more. We're not going to get through all the questions, Rob. We're running out of time. We've got 3 minutes left. So one of the questions
Speak
that
quicker.
Alex has raised, why are the headsets probably too far? I'm not quite sure what that means, but I see a tremendous amount of opportunity for AI and headsets in this field, in terms of overlaying assets into the, virtual assets into the screen, in terms of collaboration with positioning systems, so the user knows exactly where they are, in terms of putting isolation boundaries of things in OLE land. There's all sorts of opportunities for these things, isn't there? Yeah,
totally agree. But at the moment, we send people out with pieces of paper and a pen and their eyeballs. That's the reality of today. Yeah, that's what we send people out with today. So then going, actually, do you know what? I'm going to dress you up as a robot and send you out, and that's the change. It's more that it's a massive leap. So actually, what the team on the ground quite like is the Workflow Plus piece, that actually they can type the information in onto an iPad or something like that. It captures it. They haven't got to write it back up in the office. Actually, they can see what they've written, because the ink isn't smudging and all that sort of stuff. And it asks them a structured number of questions in a very good way. Then when you add actually the headset, you talk to it, maybe it doesn't understand people properly at the moment, cameras, all that sort of stuff. It might just be at this time a leap too far. Headsets are definitely coming. It's definitely an application. And in other applications, it might work. In this one application that we're trying it through, it's maybe a step too far today. But we'll revisit.
There's a lot of opportunity there, isn't there? That's all I was saying. There's a lot of I think that's it. I think we're 1 minute to 7. So Rob, once again, I'd like to thank you for your time tonight. It's been very informative. We'll try and pick up some of the other questions offline and circulate them somehow, possibly when we produce the YouTube video. So hopefully we'll try and get back to you on those. And thank you everybody for attending, and I hope you found it informative. And thanks a lot, and good night.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Rob.